a man by what he used to be, or his ways of long ago. Instead, let us look at what he is now, and would be tomorrow. Everybody deserves a chance in life. I'm sure you would agree. Don't try and condemn a person just so. It's true, will I not be?
If you see a man you know that was bad,
Real bad,
turning on your leaf where you should feel glad.
so glad.
Encourage and help him to get along, instead of trying to pull him back down.
No, no.
That's wrong.
If at any time someone needs your help and you turn and walk away, in my book that is a serious offense. I don't care what you say. Don't eat, drink and laugh with me and behind the shoo in me day. Don't call me your brother man when you know you're only playing game.
If you see a man you know that was bad,
Real bad,
turning on your leaf where you should feel glad.
so glad.
Encourage and help him to get along, instead of trying to pull him back down.
No, no.
That's wrong.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
He who is without sin cast the first stone. So said the master, and not one person could have raised their hand. Each one was a sinner, scandalizing somebody named just so. What will you profit? Not a single thing, is only because you like plenty gossip.
If you see a man you know that was bad,
Real bad,
turning on your leaf where you should feel glad.
so glad.
This song is dedicated to the ex-sailors and ex-soldiers who fell in the battle against crack addiction, and to those who are still in battle.
Ion Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Ion Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to our online family on Facebook and YouTube across the region and around the world. You're tuned to Ion Dependency right here on I-95.5 FM. And of course, we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube.
And today is a special day, special one for me. I just turned 65 on Friday. It's been a journey from my struggles with crack cocaine and incarceration to 24 years of bringing the program to you. But at this age, I have to ask myself, has it been worth it? Are we really making a dent in the drugs, crime, and violence that plague our society?
And that is part of the conversation we will be having this morning. It's not just a celebration of his birthday, but a reflection and maybe even a reckoning. We are looking at restorative justice, the war on drugs, and whether the work that we have been doing here on Ion Dependency is enough. And of course, we want to hear from you, our listeners, as part of this honest discussion.
And apart from highlighting the work of the police, the CTU, and what is to come, I also want to thank you very much. And I'm going to play a calypso to start this program. For those of you who don't know, well, of course, it's Calypso History Month, but this calypso tells a story. It's called Ex Soldiers Prayer. And we'll take the journey from there. Now, this program is dedicated this morning to a few groups of people, but especially those who have retired and those who are still out there in the field, for those who are recovering and fighting recovery, for those who did not get a chance to retire. You see, Natasha and people of Trinidad and Tobago, 65 is the age of official retirement, right? For
Yes.
some.
Yes,
Or for
for
most.
most.
Right. And there are those who started their career from school. They went to school, followed all the rules, went all the way, some fortunately to university. They got their degrees. Then they came out into the system and they started trotting from there, going, putting in the work, getting up every day, being disciplined, doing what they have to do to reach to the age of retirement. That's the system. That's how it's set up
Yes.
in most cases. And for those retirees who have put in the work and still waiting on your pension, I put in this plug for you this morning too as well, because there are those who have retired and not, after 2 years plus have not even received their pension as yet. So, but we're looking at retirement. Those of you who did it right, and those of you who are on your way to retirement, we congratulate you wholeheartedly, because you kept the wheels turning. Society needs that to function. However, then there are those like us who don't even know when retirement is. And whether it's by nature or by design, some of us have found ourselves in the roles of mouthpieces, town criers. Some of us did not ask for it. Some of us chose that way. But those of us who asked for it, and those are the people now, I'm referring to the ones who, for some reason, got on the train and at some point in the journey decided to be a disruptive passenger or misfit or jumped off the train and went in their own direction. I'm one of them. Why did it happen? This is why this program was started. But this calypso I'm about to play for you, called Exolia's Prayer, was the beginning of this journey. And it's so ironic that just before we got here, we got a news that another soldier was charged, this time for the disappearance of 28,000 rounds from Camp Pluto. That is not a nice position to be in as a chief of defense staff right now, with all else that's going on in the military. But for those of you hearing this calypso for the first time, this was done like 15 years ago. And it was really a cry for help. A cry for help for people like me. And what prompted this is, I remember Writer Coffee. Writer Coffee worked on the base with me, the FHQ as we called it. And Writer Coffee was one who ended up on cocaine as well. And one time I was back home from Canada and on Frederick Street, standing about that usual hangout spot, excuse me, and I felt that tug on my sleeve. When I looked around, was Coffee staring at me, glassy-eyed, pure vagrant. And I know he's one that BP, that's Byron Paul, was his sergeant on the base, tried to help. But, of course, it didn't work. Coffee passed away. But when I saw Coffee, then I decided, wait a minute. The defense force doing something wrong. The regiment already did us a number. And this is what started this journey. So, short man, put up the picture. So I have a picture will be up on the screen for those of you who can access YouTube and Facebook that speaks to the journey we are about to take here this morning. I hope at the end of it, God, the Almighty, will help those in authority to understand that as nationals of Trinidad and Tobago, we are all citizens, let's say, we too are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. We might have jumped off the train for some reason. Some of us jump back on and then jump off and jump on. But some of us stayed on when we came on. And some of them are lost in the wilderness because we weren't part of the rebuilding process, or we weren't considered in many quarters. to be part of that rebuilding process, even though it says all hands on deck, all shoulders to the wheel. Let's go to the track. Tropman put up. Good morning to you again, Trinidad and Tobago, Natasha. Thank you very much as well, because without you, there'll be no me. And I want people to know that if I leave this planet before Natasha, I want you to know that there'll be no Dependency and no me without Natasha, because she kept me sane. This program kept me sane. And it helped other people to understand the journey of addiction. Let's go to Ex-Soldiers Prayer, listen to the lyrics, and let's start the journey from there. You're listening to Dependency. We'll be back.
This song is dedicated to the ex-sailors and ex-soldiers who fell in the battle against crack addiction, and to those who are still in battle. I want your public to know what's happening in the army. In Trinidad and Tobago, things are not so military. You see, I was discharged for the use of crack. Thank God, today I've recovered from that. After serving for years, I give my blood, sweat, and the tears. They thank me with a kick. But when you're on crack, you're sick. I'm fully trained and I know how to use a gun. No work, no money, they put me on the run. Now that I'm going under, it's so easy to surrender my expertise to the drug pusher. So I beg you, think, I say think, Mr. Theodore. Think, oh think, please think, Mr. Theodore. Look how much crime happening in the place. All you're donating more addicts to the race, man. Think, I say think, come on, think, Mr. Theodore. I hope you're hearing this ex-soldier begging. I just want to know that you care, oh yeah. This is just an ex-soldier's prayer. Come on, I say think, Mr. Theodore. Hey Scrappy, it's me again, boy. Still looking for my boy Coffee. Good fella that, eh? Now drugs respects no one, drugs doesn't have any master. The only thing worse than drugs, it is the AIDS bacteria. You keep putting highly trained killers out on the street. One day these trained junkies will make a clean sweep. Forget about the book, I say it's hook, them fellas hook. Rehabilitation, the only solution. Look, check the prison service, fire, police, coast guard, and the army. Addicts right to the top, you'll find plenty. I said to have a safer nation, help these men with their addiction. All for one for all, that's the plan. But in the meantime, think, I say think, come on think, El Presidente. Think, oh think, please think, El Presidente. You are chief in command. Please launch an investigation. I say think, oh think, El Presidente. I hope you're hearing this ex-soldier crying. I just want to know that you care, oh yeah. This is just an ex-soldier's prayer. Come on, I say think, El Presidente. But Taylor, Headley, remember when Maxwell and Chopper used to mesmerize them on the soccer field, boy? Higher ranks didn't love them then. They get sick, they don't love them no more. Now let me draw your attention and maybe offer a solution to what I think is a serious tragedy. Remember what took place down in Somalia? Them Canadian soldiers, boy, was most out of order. But tell me who's to blame when there's no help for their super brains. Now they want to fry Timothy McVeigh for bombing Oklahoma the other day. They help create these monsters every day. But as they lose control, they just turn the other way. A disoriented soldier is a whole country in danger. In TNT, Canada, America. So I beg you, think, please think, Mr. Bill Clinton. Think, oh think, come on think, take care of your veterans, lieutenant, captain, even major. When it comes to drugs, they have the same rank as a sergeant or private soldier. Think, I said think, please think, all you world leaders. I hope you're hearing this ex-soldier warning. I know because I was there. Oh yeah, I'm an ex-soldier, and this is my prayer. Come on, I say think, all you world leaders. Good Balfour, BP, Babel, remember these brothers in holy prayers. Please, servicemen all over the world, take care.
Right.
Right.
So, I hope you understand now. But what prompted that track? Well, it was growing up in a dysfunctional home, having to leave home, because there's always one in most families. It happens. But for those of you who grew up in dysfunctional homes, this is basically a foundation. Children growing up with low self-esteem, when they go out there, they'll be easily influenced. Natasha, feel free to jump in anytime, but you know, let me help me as I go over this journey. And this is how our independency was born, because I went to the military with low self-esteem, but thing is, my father and grandfather, I've always said I met them in the regiment. You know, Babel, who's retired now, I always call him my grandfather, and Bo Daniel was my father, because they paid attention to me. So they're not paying attention to your children and the journey that they want to go on, and instead have them feel like the black sheep of the family, or when parents fight, it affects children. Some families don't appreciate that. And then there were those who will take sides. Some will take the mother's side, some will take the father's side, and that's where the split begins. So to make a long story short, you know, I love my mother, God rest her soul, but for some reason, we were on unsafe wavelengths for a while. So I left, even though she had her own contract with Texaco at the time, and I could have stayed there, been an oil magnate if I wanted to, but I started on my own journey, took another train, and that train took me to Tetron Barracks. And during that time, between Tetron Barracks and the FHQ, I was introduced to crack cocaine. At the same time, a number of sailors and soldiers in that era, now that ex-soldiers pair was in 95, and appealing, but then I didn't understand it. But I was a good recruit, I was a good soldier, and then this soldier who worked for that crime family from Arima introduced crack cocaine to the military, and some of the names that have been mentioned in the Calypso fell prey to it, who were discharged, who died after that, who survived. I am one who survived. I don't know why, but I survived. But the journey to get to here was an eye-opener. that we were left alone by the military, even though it wasn't supposed to go like that. But it did. And we never challenged it. I don't know why. But I survived it. Using some of the skills that I got in the military, I navigated the streets, the prison, and put my family through hell during all of that. And on that journey, I keep asking myself, why? So those of you parents out there who you have that situation taking place in your home right now, and you feel like you're losing one of your children, this starts from home. I thought it started from the military. It starts from home, really, that preparation. And like I said, to those of you who retired gracefully, you put in the work, you help the wheels turn, I congratulate you. But for those who didn't and ended up like I did, when we came back out of the jungle, we needed that guidance from a society, first of all, that acceptance from a society that we weren't perfect, but we still have a lesson that we would like to share with the world. And when I was in Brooklyn, I called Natasha from a payphone, because I transitioned from Canada over to... I was gone from Trinidad and Tobago because trying to reintegrate was difficult. They made it difficult. Nobody cared anymore that I was a good soldier and a good PTI and respected one as well. All they remember now is that I was on crack cocaine and I went to prison. And it was difficult. And that's the first thing, the first lesson I'd like to drop here for those who following me. I'm 65. I'm retirement age. And
but many who have walked a similar journey didn't make it, huh?
Yeah, they didn't make it. But I kept asking God, why me? Why? But then why not me? So, and this is not a pity party going on. It's just an experience now in getting to hear how difficult society made it. And maybe I was the experiment. But a lot of you out there, both still serving and retired, failed that experiment. And I say this with my whole chest, without fear of contradiction. So now I could probably only speak, because I don't know how long I could go on with this journey again, the way I undertook it. But I could speak for those coming out of prison and try to pave a way for them, to make it easier for them to reintegrate and be a part of the solution now going forward. I tried, and a great part of society failed. You all failed. I'm sorry to say, but I will show you what I mean as we start this as we carry on the conversation with. So the picture that you see up there, put back up the So when I called Natasha to tell her I want to do a program 24 years ago, that I want Trinidad and Tobago to understand that substance abuse is not a moral deficiency. It's, most cases, there's a thing called predisposition for alcoholics, crack addicts, gambling addicts, food addicts. Tamika, could help more next door, please? Deficiency. Yes, and it's, most cases, there's a thing called predisposition. It was to send a message to that we are not bad people. Food addicts, we are not bad people. We just jump off the train at the wrong time and just needed a chance to get back on. But every time I try to get back on, yes, there are people who try to push us off. Most cases, there's a thing called Natasha, it was to send a message passed in that too as well, that we are not bad people because of her mother. Imagine that, Natasha, we just, jump off the train she suffered a double whammy because she was guilty by association. Just needed a chance to get back on. She was to be with somebody who came out of prison who got discharged from the regiment for drug use, and she decided to marry that person. So, and on top of that, her mother, deceased Hazel Brown, because of her mother,
Imagine
was
that
vilified and tarred and feathered
she
for
suffered a double
supporting
whammy because she was guilty by
Mrs. Prasad
association.
Bisesha as first female prime
Chose to be
minister.
with somebody who came out
And
of prison.
for some reason, Natasha had to pay for that too as well. But and it's unfortunate. So we suffered double whammies, but we still maintained our course. So Natasha will show you some of the achievements from our independency, and just to let you know that we've tried. I have tried. I, Garth St, have tried in many aspects of our society to reintegrate properly. And when I listen to people talk about cutting down on recidivism, and this has been happening decades now, cutting down on recidivism and drug use, and I realize that they would stand on platforms and say these things, especially boldly against drug abuse and illicit trafficking, and speak about drug use and the revolving door and all of that. And most of them almost sent me to the revolving door. I am very serious. So I asked the question today, do we want reintegration? Do we want restoration? Or we just say that? And those of you who are responsible for helping it and you don't, then what are we doing? Because my emotional strength is Herculean. And if nobody else will tell you that, Natasha could write a book on it. Because living in this society and reintegrating is like floating into cyberspace and hoping that you get to hold on to things while you float and not float away. And the people who are responsible for understanding this, with the Drug Council, NADAP, the Ministry of Health, Social Development, and on that journey, I've met people who don't understand it and who insisted that they would keep the door closed or close the door and think that I wouldn't relapse. Depression, stress, you name it, you know what's more difficult? Living a disciplined life. You see the guys who on the streets and who tried to reintegrate and they gave up and go back to the streets because the streets easier for them to navigate. They have no responsibilities. But the ones who decide to have responsibilities while they reintegrate needs to be assisted in that navigation. And we are not. We are more indulged rather than embraced. And we cannot speak to recidivism and cutting down on it. And yet, on the other hand, when you come off the podium, you're going in the other direction. It makes no sense. I survived it, and I'm here this morning to speak on behalf of those, because Natasha, when I go to the prison, especially when we go to the visual mission to do the navigating out of your reoffending program, and I'm speaking to prisoners who are about to leave prison, and in part of my heart is saying to them, part of me saying, look, I want you all to try this. I want you all to go this direction, to not come back to prison. But in the other heart, I know who they're coming out to meet. In some cases, it's a roller coaster ride. And that roller coaster ride, not all of them could handle it. You have to hold on, you have to rail hold on. And when I say hold on, people, I mean waking up every day and going to the people who speak this in public but don't practice it in private. And we've been promised to no end. And I have colleagues working in Canada and all of that who went the same road, and they are employed by the government, by the state. People from Jamaica, Grenada, you name it. But in my country, because that's when I decided to come back home, I felt I could have done this for my country. But I don't want to call too many names here this morning, but there are people who could have sent me back to prison indirectly, and they don't know it, or they knew it and they didn't care. So Natasha, let's start quickly, because Natasha has put together a lot of things for you all to see this morning, and I will explain in detail how it almost sent me back to prison. Ironic, eh? These are tangibles that we produced between 2010 and 2015, and the very first one almost sent me back to prison, even though it was for the prison, and it was the full. Jesus, it's. Let's go to the image. Let's go.
The first one is the missions that we have conducted to the UK, US, and Canada, which has in turn led to some of the projects that you'll see later. So image B, short man.
And I want you to follow me on this journey and understand what I'm talking about, folks. And I listen to you too, the callers, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, who sometimes you would say some things on radio when you call in and speaking about people like us and speaking. Let me use Wayne Chance, for instance. Again, Wayne Chance died. Are we frozen?
No.
Oh. Wayne Chance.
No, he hasn't put up the picture yet.
Yeah, but ask him to put it up, please.
Short man, image B, please.
Wayne Chance passed away fighting for his NGO.
Right.
To be relevant. And a lot of people did not take him seriously. Even to bring him on radio when Louis and Tony decided to do it. People asked him if they're crazy. The boy can't talk good, he mouth too big, he just shout too much, he this and that and the next. Wayne Chance had a vision. Because he saw something like I saw when I was in prison as well. And Wayne Chance went to his grave with his boots on. But it's a society, because there are people who hid his documents, never took him seriously. And it's only when the UK, US and Canada decide, we send them back home, other people, it's up to you all to do what you want. Then we realize how important Wayne's vision was. Today, vision and mission is that pillar and part of the fabric that's keeping this society from having a runaway crime situation. So, my journey was to show people that, especially servicemen, that, right, so let's go quickly. This what you see in here, Natasha, please explain.
So this is just a snapshot of some of the missions that we would have conducted, fact-finding missions to US, UK, and Canada. Starting from the top. Wait, go back. Short man, I ain't tell you change. Go back, please.
Thank you.
Just to quickly run down the...
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are talking reintegration, restorative justice, our country's way of dealing with it. If you think we can win this war on drugs, I will tell you right away, no, we are not going to win it. This program was designed for us to understand it, apply demand reduction efforts, prevention efforts. This is what it's all about. We are not winning it. We will never win that war on drugs, ever. Take it from me. We could only fight it. And we have forces out there doing it. But once there's a demand for drugs, there will always be drugs. Let's go.
Right. So, again, this is a snapshot of our achievements. Top left is HMP Brixton, which it started our journey in terms of prison radio and as a tool of restorative justice. Under that is our interview with commander in the Ontario Provincial Police. So we've also been investigating policing as it is rolled out in Canada in particular. Under that is when we interviewed officials of SOCA, which is now the National Crime Agency in the UK, Serious and Organized Crime Agency it was then, now it is the National Crime Agency in the UK, dealing with the larger issues of crime and criminal enterprise. In the middle, this was our trip to the Brooklyn Treatment Court, one of several that we visited, and which inspired our advocacy towards establishing drug treatment courts here in Trinidad and Tobago. The top right is our visit to BBC Caribbean, as it was then. It is no longer. So reinforcing our role as media professionals in terms of raising awareness and advocating for certain issues. Under that was our trip to the University of Kent, where we toured a cannabis farm, and the cannabis that is grown here, produced here, is used to make medicine. So that...
And we've had this information nearly a decade and more now.
Yes.
Right?
So this is just a few
Yeah.
things that
So you
we've
see,
done.
I'm just showing you what this journey, they say out of evil cometh good, life hands you lemon, make lemonade. This is what yours truly and his co-host decided to do. Now to try and educate us, because I wanted to find out why I was the only one in my family that went left. I didn't come from a crime family. So I had to find out reasons why I ended up where I am today. And the drug treatment court was one of them, and we came back here, advocated for it. We were welcomed with open arms for those people out there. And with some arm twisting, after 5 years, we have drug treatment courts here during that time. It took us about 5 years to convince them.
But now we have on screen, Garth, the Rise Maximum Radio. This is the launch and training of Rise Maximum Radio, the only prison radio station, we believe, in the Caribbean. It was established in 2012, and of course, we are making attempts to re-establish our connection with the station. You have heard over major holidays we would do a simulcast with Rise, but we have always been clamoring for a greater collaboration and influence on the content and the programming of that station, and we are making moves now to try and establish that.
Now let me tell you why I said this is the one that almost sent me back to prison or made me relapse. This was our first, and was my first literal tangible. How we got this? The British High Commission under Tim Stew and the High Commissioner you're seeing right now on screen here, Arthur Snell, they embraced us. They didn't indulge us. They embraced us. So much so that we were fortunate to visit 8 prisons in the UK, something they don't even allow the media in the UK to do. We got that privilege from those folks. And we felt really happy about this. I felt respected by them. And then we discovered in Wandsworth there's a radio station. Now there's one in Jamaica right now. And they had that one before, but we in Trinidad and Tobago here, that wasn't even a thing. Nobody was thinking about that. People were thinking we were crazy to even want to think that in Trinidad and Tobago we want a radio station in the prison. But we went to Mr. Volney, and he
Stay on that one. Go back.
Yes,
short
stay on that
one,
one
please.
quickly. Let me just run through this. And let me explain to you what was the first indication that Trinidad and Tobago weren't ready for people like me. For some people, because there are those who embraced us. So we got this going. Mr. Volney said yes. The Prison Reform and Transformation Unit under Mr. Gordon Husbands and Michael Jogi said, let's do this. Phil and Andrew came down here. The British High Commission brought them down, put them up in Marriott. We did a breakfast, showed it to them. Ms. Nicole Dagriffith represented Ms. Kama Prasad Bisesa. And Mr. Volney was there, thank God, although it had people around him who tried to dissuade him and didn't want him to be there. This is the example I'm talking about, the people that we meet on our journey. And thankfully, the picture you're seeing here now is the training, the broadcast, the breakfast meeting, and the launch of the radio station. There's Mr. Volney sitting next to the British High Commissioner, Mr. Snell. Now, you're supposed to know foreign missions, Trinidad and Tobago. You know they don't get involved in anything that's shady, and that makes no sense, and it has to benefit the people of Trinidad and Tobago, of course, giving them the kudos for it, for allowing it, for supporting it. When Mr. Volney was removed, you all know who replaced him. And that person called us in. I don't even like to call the person's name, but it happened.
Chrislyn Moore is her name.
Yes. And because you see, I don't want to smoke, but
no, but
we have proof of it.
We have,
so
I mean,
I don't have
it
to
happened.
Worry. Yes, it happened.
We're not slandering or maligning anyone's name. It happened.
And so the radio station was up and running with the funds. Mr. Jogi pledged $1 million. Somebody said no, he on cocaine. Well, he was on cocaine. So you give him $1 million, you know what could happen? They'll say to give him half of it. Fine, no problem. And we launched the radio station with imported equipment. The guy came down, set it up, started the radio station. Phil and Andrew were here again at the launch. And when this lady came in, That was my first test of resilience, patience, understanding, and using some of the tools that occurred from rehabilitation. She was totally against it and even tried to shut it down. Have somebody did an evaluation on it, and we didn't get to see the evaluation. Call us into our office. The greeting was horrible. The meeting was horrible. I left there. The only thing I didn't do was cry. And one of her words that struck me was, Mr. Baldwin should have never sanctioned this project. He don't know anything about radio. And that threw me back. I said, but Answer McCall, in my mind, he didn't know about radio either. But he's a media magnet. My own person sat in front of us, in front of my father-in-law, deceased, in front of Natasha, and ripped us to pieces for producing the first tangible for that ministry, which was the Ministry of Justice. Now, this is where we have to speak to authorities. You see, when you're putting people to deal with people who wants to reintegrate and do something for their country, put the right people who has the heart for it and understands it. Because she didn't look past the fact that this guy is a recovering addict. He's a former soldier, so he knows how to use weapons. He could choose another path to go on. Instead, look what he tried to do for us. And we could now introduce this as the first tangible for this ministry. She didn't see that. She wanted to shut it down. And I have to say thank God for Ansem Spring again for putting his career on the line, for making sure Rise Maximum Radio is still on today.
Yes.
All right? So this is the example I'm using, folks, to show you what the journey is like for people like me who wants to do right. We meet people who wants us to go back and do wrong. And we need to fix that on behalf of those behind me. Because I know I have to do it right so that it will make way for people behind me to continue to do it right and use me as an example. We cannot be meeting people who don't understand it, because when we left that lady's office, that person's office, my wife and my father-in-law, we were silent in that elevator going all the way down. The silence was deafening. And during that time, I'm thinking, okay, so we talking reintegration and restorative justice, and here I am, you trying to send me back to prison because you don't know what I think in here now. And I think all kind of evil thinking, we call it, start to come through my head. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a horrid time for us. And I would like to see, on behalf of those who want to change, I would like to see that assistance to help us change. Please, I am begging this morning. If we say all hands on deck, all shoulders to the wheel, and citizens who were in prison just demonstrating that, here's what we have, and here's what you all like to call the white man in Canada and the UK. You know what they understand? They understand that we are an important part of the journey. They understand that in my country, we are treated as a liability. That's sad. That is the hard part to swallow. That's the hard pill to swallow. And thank God I made it to this point that I could even speak about it, because she could have sent me back to prison.
Well, go to the next one, short man, this image D. This is our attempt at bringing some relief to Tobago now in terms of drug treatment. At the time, there was no drug treatment facility in Tobago. They established one. They put the deceased Gavin Cole at the helm. And then it was shut down again, never to reopen. Why? Because I guess the authorities in Tobago did not believe that the island needed a drug treatment facility. Right now, we are dealing with someone who needs a drug treatment facility in Tobago because he needs to be close to his family and to support. But no, he has to come to Trinidad for treatment. Why? Because there's no facility on the island. We have run our blood to water trying to convince people that this is something that is needed. Look at the state of Tobago now in terms of drugs and crime. Why do you think that is? Why is that? Because there are no measures to mitigate against people trying, becoming addicted to, and ruining their lives and their families and communities in the process as a result of drug abuse. We have tried. We have been told by Tobagonians, stay out of our business. We have been told by chief secretaries from over London, come down, that this is not something that is a priority for us.
No, but Mr. London, love him or hate him, I will never forget that meeting he had with me at the Radisson. That time it was another name. And he really asked me sincerely, God, how bad it is in Tobago. Those were his exact words. God, hear me, God love the truth. Because he heard us begging and pleading Tobago.
Yeah.
And he finally relented and said, God, join me for breakfast. I was there with him. His favorite is coconut bacon and smoked herring. And he asked for a second helping first the conversation was going good. And within a month, a rehab center was open at Trek.
Right.
But then Gavin Cole passed away and the rehabilitation center was closed and never reopened. Now the crack addict population has doubled and increased in Tobago by leaps and bounds. I call on the authorities again, as a humble servant, please look at Tobago. But Tobago is clean, green, and pristine and perfect, better than Trinidad to have a rehab facility. Tobago is 100 times better than Trinidad to set up a rehab facility. Now that is rehabilitation. You set up a rehab center close to the seafront, make it look good, like the one in Antigua, and listen, you will get tourists and all from around the world. You throwing away millions of US dollars in medicinal
medical tourism.
Medical tourism. You all are throwing away hundreds of thousands because some people prefer to come to the islands to recoup and rehabilitate, and we have a lot of them now that the drugging mess going on around the world increasing, especially in America. So Tobago, once again, we appeal to you, please think about it, think about your citizens, and get that rehab center running again. Please, we beg of you. Achievement, let's go to the other one
The next
quickly.
one, image E, Shortman, this is drug treatment courts. Again, something else we strongly advocated for. It happened, we got it. There are two such courts in Trinidad now, in Tunapuna and in San Fernando. However, there's always a but. But it's not, the courts are not being utilized as they should. There are still magistrates who are not in favor of this kind of diversion. They are not in favor of these problem-solving courts, which will when they have persons who are who have substance use disorders who come before them, who are sent to treatment instead of being sent to prison. That is called diversion. It is a mechanism through which the court mandates treatment for these persons, which is what they need, because there's no treatment facility in prison.
Let's go to the other one. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are recounting a journey for me, but at the age of 65, when I'm supposed to be retired, but I'm one of the people who took another journey and cannot afford to right now for several reasons. And because I keep asking myself, am I at the end of the journey here? Am I supposed to stop and lick my wounds, count my losses, and move on? Or is there a door that will be opened permanently for people like me who can be part of the army to fight this war? Will there ever be? Will we be embraced and not indulged? Because we have good ideas. And the thing about it is we have practical experience. Like the judge in Canada said to us in his chamber, took us there twice, took us to the court, we look at the proceedings, drug treatment court, and he took us back to his chambers, gave us a chance to interview him. And we thanked him, and he said, no, I want to thank you, because in this part of the world, we consider you to be the experts, not me. He said, they just put me to run this court. He said, I had to learn a lot on the run. But you all have it firsthand, so people like you are an important part of the... So we are like the sergeants in the army, but are we being recognized as that? And then in Trinidad and Tobago, we fighting as different, instead of one army, we fight in a different battalion. And so most battalions have walls up so you can't get in to tell them and contribute to their fight. We are being kept out. So we did this film called Trafficked, which was underutilized again. And we were supposed to make the rounds in schools with it because this film, teaches a lot about not only the acclimating purpose of human trafficking, but peer pressure, what it's like. And we are hoping again that it will be taken up once again because, and I cannot forget Stephen Cadiz, Hassan Barat, Mr. Hadid, all of these people who welcomed us and understood what we wanted to do and did not hesitate to support this film. And this film is still being used as a teaching tool to this day.
Correct.
We taught Jamaica just last year with it. Is this last year or only this year? Last year.
Last year,
Last year, yeah. With the director of the counter trafficking unit.
And we've been trying to make some inroads with the Ministry of Education or whichever ministry is interested in getting this in front of school children's eyeballs. We see the issues that are happening in schools these days.
Yeah.
Why are we not trying to use the arts as a tool, as an education tool? We have a film. This film is over a decade old, but still, even today, when people see it, they react very viscerally to it. Because it is a true story, and two, these what takes place in the film is still happening today.
Endorsed by people around the world, but not embraced by our people.
They
And
just
we are
can't
hoping,
see.
and we are hoping again, once again, that it can be embraced by this administration so that we can, because it's for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Substance abuse, drug abuse don't care about race, creed, color, class, or whatever. And human trafficking, worse. So, achievement, let's go to G. Follow us, people, because we are going somewhere with this. We're going somewhere with this, right? And the Dependency television, we tried with that, and then there's the next thing to get incorporated Trinidad and Tobago to understand that they are part of the, in some cases, they could be part of the solution and join us, but they refused. We are a registered NGO, totally legit, up to date, and yet we put in the work, and yet we still need to convince NLCB and Angostura, and all, they have to join in this fight. You are not isolated from this because you, in some cases, are creating victims.
No, they prefer to support people who have no, not constructive conversations. That, just...
Especially Angostura.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so difficult to convince you all that you need to help Trinidad and Tobago fight this war because alcohol is a drug. But we tend to not think about alcohol as a drug because it's accepted it is a drug. You do your research. A mood or mind-altering substance is a drug. Alcohol is one of them. Alcohol is a mood or mind-altering substance. We have sent many times, and that's the next thing about Trinidad and Tobago. No acknowledgement. You send emails, they tell you, give your email to send in public, They
print reams of paper with documents.
With documents.
You don't know if people are reading it. You don't know where the paper ended up.
No response. No acknowledgement. Should I continue going on like this? In the meantime, watching my ship get holes in it, and while I trying to convince people that we need ammunition to help fight.
And believe you me, folks, I have tried to convince him of this. I tire tell him, these people don't want to hear what we have to say. Can we pivot and try something else because it's not working? I can't continue to see you running your blood to water, running people down and begging them for support.
But here was the problem with me, folks. Remember, I'm stubborn, I'm a soldier, and I understand battle, right? And then when I really caught myself, I'm 65, remember, but we started this journey 3 decades ago, 2 decades ago plus. So I was young, fit, and I gave my all. I never deviated. And I looked at that picture, to make it so, you will see a picture of a man digging a tunnel, 2 men digging a tunnel, one on top, one below. Right. And the one who just about... Right there. That's how I felt. Because I started the journey already. Should I turn back? Or is it the breakthrough just right there? And this is where Natasha and I kind of butt heads for a while because she seriously was... Because she
I was
saw...
fed up. I had it.
She saw me leave home go and try and come back home dejected, feeling neglected. We sat with officials, Natasha and I, even she saw it, ladies and gentlemen. She saw it, ladies and gentlemen. She saw me beg big men and women, and these big and said yes, yes, yes. And then these, so I am asking those again who look at me when I come, kindly look over my head or look behind me, and you will see my family behind me. So think that if you hurt me, you hurt a family too. And anybody else who comes out of prison and wants to do the right thing, there must be a way for us to do it. We're not feeling sorry for ourselves. We've been contrite. We apologize to the nation over and over for jumping off the train, but we are still citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. This is why when people come by us and ring the doorbell for help, I just tell Natasha, don't run them, you know. It's just that I do the same thing they do. I just dress nicer than them. But I do the same thing in front of ministries, in front of corporate Trinidad and Tobago. I do the same thing. When I ring that bell, I want somebody to answer. Right? So don't ever run nobody from in front of your house. If it's 25 cents, give them it. And that's how I live. My mother taught me that. Right? But look at this now. And this is the one that freaked me out the most. The lectures, because I found my forte to speak to servicemen. That's the strength I have. That's one that God had given me. Because I could tell you this, standing in front of people in uniform and people in prison and trying to convince them is not an easy thing to do. You see, once you could do that, you know you're good. I didn't even know I was that good. So we made an attempt to do lectures for the Defense Force. We succeeded in some cases, and then in some cases, some people don't think it was necessary. I don't know why. And that's the roller coaster I'm talking about. Natasha?
We just want to read some of the
this is Coast Guard.
Feedback.
Listen to this, right?
Of these lectures that he has delivered over several years, starting in 2009 and up to as recent as 2023, but intermittently, right? Not regular. So in 2009, 2010, I think one time in 2016,
right,
and then 2023, right? So it has been sporadic.
Now, before Natasha shares this, let me ask you, if you see somebody's strength, and most ministries talk about value for money, you hear that all the time from the Minister of Finance. When a ministry is spending money, they must see value for money.
Mm-hmm.
So Garth St. Clair came to you and he said, I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
And the roller coaster comes with from one PS to the next, from one minister to the next, from one chief of defense staff to the next, from one colonel to the next. You know, it goes up and down. But from the first one, would you put your disappear short man? Put back up.
Yeah, go back to H, please. So this just has a picture of Garth doing his lecture. This was for the Coast Guard. And some of the comments from the participants.
Now, these comments are solicited. Sorry, Natasha. These comments are solicited this way. We hand out evaluation forms, and we ask the personnel, do not put your name. Just put your thoughts. Right? Race, age, unit, but just put your thoughts. Here's what they have to say.
This lecture was highly informative and would recommend that this be digitalized and taught in schools and other various institutions. Well done. Very good lecture. This was information that we need to be reminded of daily. This lecture was exceptionally well put together, and it thoroughly engaged me and my peers for its entirety. I feel impacted by the information presented and the amazing testimony by Mr. St. Clair in the most positive and uplifting way. God is great all the time. Thankful for the knowledge and broadened perspective. Great information needs to be done more often and before enlisting. Today's lecture class was fun and very informative.
Now, this is from the Coast Guard. I think this was the ordinary rate.
Yes, the
right?
next one just is a summary of what the presentation...
This is for Air Guard now.
Right. Is, and the comments, would like to see presentation again. Hope to see this on a continuous basis. Very well put across, a real eye-opener. Very good lecture, very informative.
And we thank Buster. You know, I kind of have a brain freeze here now to remember your name. Imagine that.
All right. We'll
But
go
I
ahead
hope
with...
he was the commanding officer of the Air Guard at the time.
Right.
Oh my Lord.
Some
I
of the
remember.
other,
Sorry, sir.
some of the other comments, as I read, I'll come back to you.
Mr. Rudolph Tyrone. Yes.
Rodolfo.
Tyrone Rudolph.
This program should be endorsed on a national scale by the appropriate authorities. It is the best substance abuse presentation I have ever come across. Excellent program. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Keep spreading the messages. You have been called to a higher service through your personal experience. Good lecture, very informative. And again, from junior ranks now. Hope to see more lectures like this more often. Thank you, Mr. Sinclair, for a very satisfying, educating, and excellent presentation. Thanks for opening my eyes. Great presentation, informative lecture. So if that did not spur the powers that be to say, well, let's keep this on a continual basis.
No, that's value for money. What you hear though is value for money, right?
Value
folks? What
for
you
money,
heard.
yeah.
Okay. Why is it not
And it's real
encouraged?
small money we charge, eh?
And why isn't it not encouraged, people? This is my question.
No,
I'm
because
not
you don't have
knocking
letters
anybody.
behind your name. And I don't either.
I'm not knocking anyone, all right? Believe me, because I know it's our culture. Why this culture? That's all I'm asking. If it is, we could have a better culture of treating with geniuses like this. Because I didn't ask for this. I wanted to be a trained soldier. That is all I wanted to be. But for some reason, instead of using that training against the state, I decided to turn that around and offer myself. I shouldn't have want anything to do with the defense force at all, with no arm of law enforcement. I shouldn't. And those comments you heard came from also from prison, from the regiment, and I'm talking about from private soldier, go right up to officer.
God, can I just interject for a second here, please? I just want to address a comment on YouTube from my namesake. Her name is Natasha. And I pointing out this comment not to blast the commenter, but as Garth will attest for himself, he is a believer in God. I am not, in the same way as he is, right? He is a strong believer in God. I want God, you explain why someone would say to you that you should depend on God and God will do it for you and open doors. Why haven't those doors opened, despite your belief?
Somebody asked her?
Yes. Well, she said that you should depend fully on God. He will do it for you and he will open the door. So I want you to explain how it is that despite your belief in this higher power, those doors have not been opened. Please explain that.
No, God did, you know. God opened the doors, but there are some people who ignored his call. But he did, because the lectures are proof that some people listen to God, but not everybody listens to God, honey. Whoever you worship as a higher power. So he put all of us down here to help each other, you know. I don't think God wanted us to fight each other, you know. I don't think this was his plan. The race, you know, the white and the black and the Indian and the African and I don't think God planned that. You see that written anywhere? So as Natasha said, I'm a prayer warrior. My mother made that out of us. And some of the prayers were answered. This is why I'm able to have testimony today from people that what I do is good. But I'm asking, why isn't everyone listening to God? That's the question you should ask. Don't ask me about depending on God. Is God have me here today, honey? So I thank you for your comment, but I'm talking about the people this morning who don't listen to God's call, who don't listen to God's disciples. And God and I have to have a conversation in the next life, because you see this? He need to find somebody else. Because like I'm saying, I'm at this age, like the people who retired now, while you're working on your way to retirement, I'm sure you're planning a nice boat cruise afterwards, because you're getting up every day, you're putting in the work, you're beating that traffic, braving that traffic every morning from 5, you have to get up, come to work, make the wheels turn, go back home, you do the same thing again on repeat till you retire. But what about those who, like me, who did it the wrong way? And now trying to catch back. We need God. And it's God that kept us. But
What did I do to deserve this, though? As a person who is a non-believer.
who you?
Yeah.
You know, negative and positive works, and
Why it had to be negative?
no, when I say the people who, and let me tell you, for those of you who never supported us, who tried to derail our efforts, I want to say thank you to you. Don't feel I hate you. I don't, because
I do.
I learned a valuable lesson. You sound like Donald Trump, there, boy. No, don't hate them. Here's why. One day, something significant happened with a car, and I called Sam, deceased Sam, because for some reason Betsy wouldn't start that day, and it had a new battery. So when Sam came over, Sam opened the bonnet. He started smiling. He said, "Go and start the car." When I start, the car started. I said, "What?" He said, "The negative pole was shaking, and I didn't realize that." I said, "But I jiggled it." He said, "No, you have to tighten it." And then it dawned on me. I said, negative, we cannot move forward without negative and positive. So to the people in our lives who were positive and listened to God, I want to say thank you. But to the negative people, you kept us going. Because without you, we can't move forward. So some of you who felt that you were putting obstacles in our way and you're taking our names off of list and blacklisting us and all of that, you helped too. So I don't hate you, I love you too. It's just I want you to understand now that we have a bigger fight on our hands, which is we're going to lose our children soon if we don't come together and listen to the soldiers who went out there, braved the battlefield, and returned with a message. So Natasha, on YouTube, I want you to tell God to talk to the people who are not listening.
Correct.
All right?
Correct.
And I mean, everything we have to put on God's shoulders. Sometimes God give man the opportunity and the brain.
We always absolving responsibility to God.
Yeah.
Why it is that humans on earth can't do what they're supposed to do? Why we have to wait to answer to God for something?
So that
do it now.
So that when I went to Miss Joan Yule Williams, God spoke to her, and she said, "Okay, go ahead, start an independency." She didn't listen to God when we start drugs in schools. Instead of that, she felt we were bad talking the Ministry of Education.
Decide when they want to listen to God and when they don't want to listen.
And now we have a problem here because we try to get Mrs. Manning to understand that you need to get substance abuse on the curriculum in schools. And it didn't happen up to this day. I hope this government now would change that narrative and go for the big shot. Knock this one out of the park, folks. We have to come together and knock this one out of the park because, as you will see for yourself, the drug trafficking is not going to stop. The human trafficking is not going to stop. And we need drugs to help human trafficking work. So you see the correlation? This is why we thank Homeland Security and CTU for understanding what we do here is important. They understood, and Officer Vel Lewis at the time, he understood God's call. So let's look at it from that direction. Let's go. We haven't taken a break yet since we started. So let's take a break. And when we return, we'll wrap this part up and we try to get everything in as much as possible because Trinity Dance Theatre has something coming up, I think this evening too as well. And don't forget that cruise will retire. But for the police retirees. But folks, 300K in drugs were seized again. And this is where I'm going to show you. A police officer is charged for robbing the Barataria station. Remember that story where the drugs disappeared? A police officer for the high jump. I could have helped that, I would always tell people, folks, God didn't give me the ability to stop people from taking drugs or getting involved in, especially servicemen. But he gave me the gift to show them the future.
But God, what were we told when we asked about you doing lectures at the police academy? What were we told?
Yeah, I didn't have a master's degree, so I
Correct.
couldn't do it for them.
Correct.
And that is sad. If I knew a piece of paper would have helped me to earn an income in Trinidad and Tobago, I would have gone for that piece of paper, but I felt I had enough.
How God intervening in that?
I had enough knowledge and experience with drugs to be a part of the army. I didn't mind being a ground soldier. I was born for that. But the troops and the commanders in some cases didn't see or answer that call from God. Let's go to a break. When we return, you have more to share with you. Stay right there.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Dobson here from HMP London. Can I speak to Mr. James, please?
This is Mr. James speaking.
Thank you. Can you hold the line? I have a call coming through to you, sir.
Sure.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, yes, Brian?
Daddy, I'm just calling to tell you that locked up in the UK for drug trafficking.
Oh, yeah? You lock up? And you tell me I was going to Tobago? And I tell you about them boy I was liming with? Well, all right. Don't drop the soap. Carry on.
I on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I 95.5 FM.
Slavery, a terrible time in our history. The kidnapping, buying and selling of people for profit, the exploitation of another human being. It still exists today. It has a new name: human trafficking. Anyone can be a victim. There is forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude. Human trafficking is a worldwide problem and an emerging concern for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. If you know of or suspect human trafficking activity, call the counter-trafficking hotline at 800-4CTU or 800-4288. Human trafficking is a crime. Identify it, report it, stop it. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Join us this Sunday for episode 40 of I on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Despite his experience as a former soldier and his decades of advocacy, the doors to truly helping others, even within the protective services, have remained closed. And with crime and drug abuse still tearing at the fabric of our society, Garth faces the reality that his efforts may not have borne fruit. But today he asks, has it been worth it?
As a formerly incarcerated person surviving crack addiction, 24 years of service to Trinidad and Tobago, and 65 years on the planet, what have I learned about restorative justice and the war on drugs in Trinidad and Tobago? Let's discuss this Sunday.
This isn't just a birthday reflection. It's a challenge to himself, to the system, and to all of us. Listen live from 10 a.m. on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the I on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. The Counter-Trafficking Unit, Ministry of Homeland Security brings you I on Dependency. We don't just share stories. We change lives.
Thank you for staying with us. You're listening to Dependency, and let's move on quickly now to one of the things that we highlighted years ago. We had Derek Shabade in studio here with a couple of students. You see, this is part of the journey that drives us nuts, because you know you have the answers, you have the medicine, you're being warned, and yet nobody's listening. There's nothing more debilitating than that. And Natasha, introduce the clip quick. Let's go.
Yeah, so this is a clip that from 2004. This is a couple of years after we started our Dependency, where we had, as Garth mentioned, Derek Shabade and some of the students at the time who were under his charge, talking about drug trafficking in schools. We hear a lot of talk about that these days, but in 2004, this was still an issue, right? So let's take a listen to what these young people had to say about what they had experienced in schools, in secondary school in Trinidad and Tobago. You all remember this?
Basically, the information that I have on the actual drug trafficking in schools is more or less how it comes into play. In other words, majority of the people who actually sell drugs outside actually have family members or people who would actually be going into the school compound, and they are encouraged to actually supply to whoever is in the school, because there would be a market for these items in the school, where you'd have kids who are not exactly achieving well in their academics or in sports or so forth, where they would be able to make little income and, in other words, get some sort of street cred. Yeah, he have it, he don't have it. You could get a good brand by him, you could get pressed by this one otherwise. A number of the teachers, even if they find out about it, there's very little they can do. Besides calling MTS, the police or whatever, that'd be a one-time occasion.
In terms of these substances, what you know is selling in schools right now?
Basically what the person is interested in, they would get it for you. Meat, cigarettes, marijuana, alcohol, down to cocaine.
Cocaine?
Yeah.
Ecstasy?
Yeah.
Is it reported to the teachers? Do students go to the principal and say, sir, XYZ?
I would say 90% of the time not, but when it is reported, it's otherwise like a bait and switch. By the time you report something to someone, there's not only one person involved in it. It's like, say for instance, people who snatch chains or so forth. But by the time you meet up to the person who actually take it, it's passed on to 3-4 other people.
Right.
And it's not like if the person who is supplying the marijuana actually keeps the item on them, you would pay them and they would send you to somebody to give it to them.
Right, that was the first clip. The second one goes into a little more detail by the other young man who...
Now, these are students that Derek Chabot brought to our program when this radio station was on Rust and Gray Street. That's how long ago that was.
Yes.
Mr. Pigott was one of the people that he helped at the time. The information that these students gave us was so damning that I had to ask Mr. Pigott to send a squad car to carry them back home and accompany Derek with them home.
Yep.
Seriously. And he did. Let's go to the clip.
Next one.
In the entire school, would have known about 2 drug pushers.
Right.
Now that everybody's seeing the kind of money they were making and the kind of ranks they were getting, it's pulling in more people into it.
No, what you're saying is that they would flash what they have.
Yes.
Thereby enticing other young men to join up with them.
To go and join up, and now they have a spreaded organization in the school where you could get it at any part now. And it varies from which one, who's stronger, which one better, and who giving you more for the less money and stuff like that. So it's like a competition they're running in the school. They're like marketing their goods and trying to compete against one another like some big business place.
Just now, Derek, we could have 2 or 4 going on in school then, if it's not going on already.
It is going on in a small scale, and it's being swept under the carpet. Till 4 is taking place as we speak, and you have strangers, young people who have left school, drop out of school, now coming back into the school to say, listen, I might drop out, but I come to handle my stories. And they also have what you call their squads or their groups within the school reporting to them. And 12:15 lunch or 2:30, they don't at the cemetery or they have the corner, and everybody submit a report. Who get this? Who did that? Who to go and punks on? Which one have to get blood? Excuse my terminology. All these different set of things is being discussed in order to stress out, and as Kendall is saying, to send a message in terms of our squad run things, and we will take down any other squad.
Yep. So this is again in 2004. Let me remind you of when this program took place. 2004. Have we improved? Has the situation changed? We in 2025. Yes.
Another student. Yeah.
Yes, and everybody's behaving as if this is abnormal, but this has been happening for the last 20 years.
Let's go to the next clip.
The next clip, Derek Chabot talks about police in schools. That is a new brand initiative from this commissioner, right?
Let's go to the clip.
Let's hear what Derek had to say about police in schools back in 2004.
How do you feel about police officers?
Well, I think it's an excellent idea having police in schools. It's just that they should not be used as guards. I think that is underutilizing the police officer and the training. I think officers can do much more in terms of just standing up by a gate and monitoring undesirables.
Yes.
I think that certainly with the establishment of community policing in the early part of the 1996-97, police officers took on a new role in terms of networking with children who are having problems and with the home, with the teacher. So you had a tripartite agreement in terms of teacher, police officer, and student, and then we include the parent, that networking. So I think that for years officers have been doing that. I've heard learned people come on radio programs and talk about officers coming and that will be the uniform will suggest A, B, and C. And I mean, it's totally misleading. I think that officers need, the public need to be educated that officers has been doing it before, and just that they need to be properly trained and need to have ongoing training in terms of addressing the role of a police officer at a school level.
So, this school police officers in school is not a new thing, right? But the community policing aspect of it, of course, the police are supposed who work in that community are supposed to be familiar with the schools in the area and know the schools, the students, the teachers, the parents. As he said, are tripartite. It's a collaborative effort to help these children. It is not police coming in with firearms and batons to beat down children who are running afoul of the law. I'm not saying it is, but
again, it's yielding, and I mean it's yielding some success, unfortunately, because now a second student was found with drugs on him in school. Now, the reason why we're playing these for you folks is because we wanted to show how far back, and I asked the question again. We didn't want to play anymore. I asked the question again though, why are people like me and like us and the NGOs that have been shouting from the mountaintops about this not taken seriously?
And also, Garth, what is going to happen to these young people who are held and brought before the court on charges of possession and or trafficking of drugs? Will they end up like you, who have experience, who have been brought before the court? What is going to happen to these young people?
Okay, well,
will they be allowed to, get a second chance, right?
So we
have to think about that too.
Yeah, there's a discussion we have to have. Following up on the discussion about the cigarettes in prison, it's something that we've been speaking about for years too as well. And folks, to those of you who oppose it, and I listen to Mr. Gordon, and we'll bring Mr. Gordon and Mr. Wilson here Sunday to continue those discussions. But you see, harm reduction is a thing now. The prison we visited recently in Canada, they practicing that. This is part of harm reduction, because I remember they had something in our dormitory, and you used to have it when we go out into the shed. There are guys who would cut bamboo and make a pipe out of the bamboo and look for what they call tonki mash. And there's cigarettes that tonki smoke and throw away and mash it on the ground. They call tonki mash. And take out the tobacco. And I partake because nicotine is a drug.
Yes.
I got one nasty cough and chest cold from smoking that, because necessity is the mother of invention. There's a need for nicotine, even though the drug is not as strong as cocaine. But it's a drug anyhow. Yes. Cigarettes is one thing will never stop selling, folks, ever. We will die and leave that too. Gambling, alcohol, cigarettes, crack cocaine, all of these in one category by themselves, that will never stop. And the people who are selling them, we still reaching out to you to understand that you need to be part of this solution as well. You're making money off of your product, but they are victims from your product, and we just ask you that every time you check that money and pat yourselves on the back, remember, they are victims from that money that you are making. Just remember that. That is all, right? And we would like you to help those victims if possible. So the cigarettes in prison is part of that process, apart from cutting on that contraband thing.
Yes, and the health implications.
Right. And the health implications.
Moot, given the conditions that they already live in.
For those of you worried about giving them lighter and matches,
no,
you could have lighter pots built on the walls. You have a designated smoking area.
Correct.
So all you have to do is press a button, light the cigarette, and Because you see, the ones who say no, you smoke cigarettes, some of you out here too, right? You could go a day without smoking a cigarette. Some of you who like to take, walk outside in front of your building where you work and take a smoke and go back inside because somebody frustrates you. You could go a day to the prison officer who work overnight. You could work overnight without smoking a cigarette. You can't. So understand, it's part of harm reduction. It's part of that whole treatment process, right? But there must be a complete effort, not just that alone. So let's, in the interest of time, let's go to the drug C's quick. Let's go to image P, short man. If you are joining us, you're listening to Dependency. Again, I am celebrating 24 years of service to Trinidad and Tobago, 65 years on the planet. And I'm asking myself with this journey, it was confusing. At times, I ask myself, what is my real purpose here? Am I to just wait to die? Or would people like me be embraced and be made part of the fight? What to do? Tell me, because this is not designed for a specific bunch of people. It's designed to help everybody. So tell us if we in or we out. Just be honest with us, because chances are, if I knew it would have been like this, I'd take Natasha and we head out to Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm sure, as night follows day, as I'm sitting here, folks, we would have been working for Center of Addiction Mental Health in Canada. I'm sure of that, because we were welcome there. Why are we treated like this at home? That is my question. And I'm asking that now for somebody that's leaving prison tomorrow with the same vision. Andrew Douglas is out of prison right now. Which ministry, which anybody called him yet to have a conversation with him to see how because Andrew went to prison when he was 21.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew is out of prison now. What should we do with his knowledge that he gathered while he was there? And how can we come together as a team with him to help go to our schools and try to make a difference?
How old is he now?
Andrew's in his late 40s.
Oh,
50s, sorry. Yeah, remember he spent how many years? He went to...
Yeah, over 30 years in prison.
Yeah, he spent 35 years in prison, actually. Yeah, so his whole youth, he grew up in an institution. Look at this, folks. Cops claim, and this is what I tell you about the war on drugs that we're fighting. Cops claim 314 million in cocaine and ganja seized.
Yep. A major blow dealt to a prominent drug trafficking network operating in the Southwestern Division, as law enforcement officers seized over 292 million worth of illegal drugs during an operation in Palo Seco on Wednesday. The seizure, which included large quantities of high-grade Colombian creepy marijuana, whatever that is, and cocaine, was the result of an intelligence-led operation carried out by the Transnational Organized Crime Unit with support from the vetted unit of the TT of Trinidad and Tobago and the Southwestern Police Division. Acting on intelligence gathered following the arrest of a key associate of the drug trafficking network on Tuesday, we are yet to hear who this key associate is. Officers maintained surveillance in a remote area along Quarry Road, known for its dense forest and limited access. Authorities suspected that the network was planning to relocate the remaining drugs from a hidden stash in the area to avoid detection. Surveillance teams remained in position overnight, and on Wednesday a coordinated search and lockdown operation was launched. The search led to the discovery of 1,177.4 kilograms of Colombian creepy marijuana, packed in 41 crocus bags, estimated street value $129,216,117, and 117.14 kilograms of cocaine packed in 5 crocus bags with estimated street value of $163,283,788. The combined value of narcotics seized on October 1st is approximately $292,499,906. When combined with Tuesday's seizure, law enforcement has now confiscated a total of $314,666,605 worth of illegal drugs over a 2-day span. The narcotics have since been transported to the Siparia police station as investigations continue. Let's hope it will all remain there.
Now, here's the thing. Police rob station.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to that image. Folks,
Yes.
this happened, and this is part of my qualification. And I can tell you again. You see, a police officer, a soldier, any arm of the protective service selling arms, ammunition, or seized drugs or anything, they need to be not only investigated, but examined as well. For some reason or the other, this happened. It's either the person is a natural thief, living above their means, so they need money, or they're on a substance that they need to satisfy, and they need all the money they could get.
Or they're being influenced or
Or
otherwise
they're being-
coerced to do this.
Right. So there are a number of reasons. Are we doing the studies and collecting the data? Or we just lining up, signing up, and sending them to prison, and when we come out, they just left to live their lives as they see fit? Or should we use the experience or that they have to help others? We have to decide what we're doing. But you see this here, it's not uncommon. No. I'm asking you the question. Or Kamika, let me ask you a question. If you know, let's say one day your dream is to, let's say, drink a beer, right? But you don't know after you drink that beer what's going to happen. If you actually have somebody to tell you, take you through that journey and show you your future after you drink that beer, and you see it will be negative, would you still drink it?
No, but we all know that this idea is the same idea when it comes to teaching sex education in school.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, as you say, if you give me the guidelines or the consequences of a particular action, I drink too much alcohol, it means I'll be intoxicated, my bearings will be off. You list the reactions that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with us now, incorporating drug abuse and sex ed in schools. So you're correct.
No. With this police officer, some people ask, well, how a police officer could do that? How a soldier could steal a weapon and sell it? How a soldier could steal? Because you cannot vet DNA. You cannot vet natural innate ability to do something. So which means then, okay, if I sit before a panel as I want to be a police officer, and they ask me, so Mr. Sinclair, you go into a room on an operation and you see millions of dollars, you see cocaine, and what would you do? What do you think I will tell them? Well, I'll take some for myself and turn in the rest? No. They will say, sir, I will report what I find and I will hand it over to my senior officer. And that's what they will say. Knowing that they're lying. Can you vet that? No, you can't. No test could even get inside a person's innate ability to do something. Or after they join the work, if they get caught up. My job, because I didn't know that either, I didn't know that becoming a young PTI and so respected that a soldier could walk up to me during that time and offer me crack cocaine and I could use it. I didn't know that. But it happened. So now that it did, what do we do from there? This is the gift that I got, that I could show servicemen in the future. And servicemen have met me and thanked me for saving their career.
But Garth, you do not have any academic qualifications that would lead you to be in a position where you could tell police officers what is ahead of them.
And this is the problem we have here.
So how are you counteracting that?
But maybe I should have been doing this in Canada, because in Canada they understand it.
Correct.
We went to Canada. There are people who working for CAMH, don't even have a GD, but they're working alongside the Toronto Police.
Mm-hmm.
And they have classes with the Toronto Police that they are getting paid to do.
Yep.
And they don't have any degree, folks. But in my country, we need a degree. Now, if I had known that, I would not have come back to Trinidad. And I was working in Canada legitimately. I have the receipts to prove it. I wasn't deported, I choose voluntarily to come home to try to help my country.
No, but then, Mr. Garth, if we dissecting your journey for the past 24 years with this institution, right? I think the question now that should be boldly asked is, maybe if it was somebody else different, maybe they could have had the exact same background. We're not eliminating that, because I believe experience is better than any certificate that anybody
You
could,
would think,
could get.
yes.
So then I think now the question that one may boldly ask is, if it was somebody else, if the response may have been different, because 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, this is 24 years, right?
Yeah.
And time stamps on particular things, it ignites the magnitude of how powerful it really works, right? 24 years we're talking about here, and you're still asking questions you've been asking 24 years ago.
Yep.
Correct.
It breaks my heart, trust me. And I don't know if I should feel sorry for my country or feel sorry for the fact that we have people here who refuse to budge and say, hey, let's use the soldiers who want to be soldiers. We don't expect government ministers to dirty their hands. We are here to dirty ours. We are here to dirty it for you. Just give us the tools and we will go there and put in the work
But the
for
other
you.
thing we have to acknowledge too is that our culture sees drug abuse as a small issue. So as you see a vagrant on the road, they're mad. As you see somebody
They're
talking to
piper.
themselves, they're mad. There's
Yeah.
a piper. So our culture is not one where drug abuse is important, mental issues is important. So I don't know if you're fighting in our grounds where they don't even want you to fight.
Well said. Yeah. I asked myself that question too. Maybe I missed that.
Mm.
Maybe I missed that, because I keep asking, why would you not want to support somebody who wants to make a change and stop people, or at least prevent most people of our children from using drugs? Why would you not support that?
The question
You
I
know,
will ask is, why
it's
would
scary.
you not want to support somebody who wants to support others? So I'm not in it for the gain for myself, because
Yeah.
I have went through the trenches, and I am at a place where I have survived. And now that I am where I am at, now all I want to do is help other people survive.
Not walk the road I walk.
That's
And
it.
that's the reason for me calling Natasha from a playful on Flatbush. I will never forget that. And that my book, I wanted to call it To Hell and Back. But I sat with Tony Lee one time at a phone, and Tony Lee said, no, call it a phone call from Flatbush, because that's where it started.
Yeah.
A phone call from Flatbush. I called Natasha and I say, hello, I coming back home. When I told the people in Brooklyn, I go, my man said, you going back home, you crazy? And no, they weren't a good example, because they were coming out on the block whole day and liming and smoking and expected me to do that. I said, no. I break enough rules in my life. I'm not going to let my time run out on me in America here and overstay my time. I go back home, but with a purpose this time. Let's go and do our independency. And that's how it started. And I in some cases, I don't regret. What I regret is the fight to keep it. I am getting tired. I got an attack of psoriasis, which means I've been depressed at times, stressed. Yes, Natasha will tell you. And because I keep asking myself the question, what should I have done better that I don't have to worry about keeping the roof over our heads? And when I see my colleagues overseas, look at Rise Maximum Radio, for instance. The white man said to me, I'm a member of Prison Radio International. The same one the lady tried to take away from us. I'm a member. They made me a member. Every time I'm in that meeting, on that Zoom meeting, I was always telling Natasha, I feel like a raisin on top of a coconut ice cream. Because only white people on the screen, and I ain't this black face in the middle of everybody. But up to Friday, Thursday, he was telling us they're happy to have me as a member of Prison Radio International. Why? Because I'm the first prisoner in the entire world to start a radio station in this country. The first one.
But Mr. God, sometimes if the environment you're in, you can't change it. You change the environment that you are in.
Correct.
I'm wondering if it's too late. It's
No,
just
no,
that
no.
they do have. If one thing, they do have race discrimination in Canada, and I keep saying
Of
Canada.
course they do, God.
No,
they do.
remember Natasha.
Yeah.
Hold up. When we spoke to the warden at the prison, what she said about being a warden at the being a prison a correctional officer.
Yeah,
at Collinsville.
yeah.
They don't
She
have
said
race
it's
discrimination. Not age, not race. Sorry, Age discrimination.
Correct,
Is what
correct.
I said?
Yes.
Sorry. I mean age.
Yeah.
They don't have age, which means I could leave Trinidad next week
So that's
and go and
why
apply to
if
be a
you're
correctional
trying
officer.
To change the environment, and the environment you're trying to change is not changing, then you change
My environment. So I'm wondering,
Maybe
this
change
is
you want
why
to see,
this was part of doing the program here today. Should I continue to fight here or go and help another person, another country fight their war? Because at least I won't be discriminated against. I'll be welcomed.
It is clear that...
And with my level of fitness, I will pass that. I will ace that test.
Come on, star boy.
I will ace that test. And I'll become a correctional... I could become a correctional officer in Canada by next month.
And that's a serious food for thought.
Of course, it
You
is.
have to go where you appreciate.
Yes.
You have to go where you're seen. And I think on you doing your reflective piece, this is a lesson to us young persons. Not just us, not just those who partake in drugs, but let us identify early in life to be in places and plant ourselves in spaces where our talent, our experience, our knowledge, it is appreciated. So I am taking, that is the lesson that I am taking from this morning.
As a young person, I thank you for understanding. And I don't want people to feel that we're here to bash or trash anyone. I'm just looking at what I consider to be resources that were wasted coming through me, because there are a number of people like me who just say, "Garth, you good, go ahead, not me." There are some prisoners told us, "Mr. Garth, we sitting here, we just hear only from the outside, Remember, we have a radio station here, and especially when Wayne Champ was alive, he said, "No, you all established out there so long, and we're still getting these problems. Yeah. What about us who leave in prison next week? Where do we start?" It's frightening them. So what I thought would have been used as a beacon of hope for prisoners and other people who wants to restore their lives were used instead treated as a liability. And I would hope, and as I look at the camera this morning, wherever the camera is, anybody in authority out there who listening, you have children of the soil who wants to change their life, and they want to join the fight, and as all hands on deck and shoulders at the wheel, as you say, open the door for them to do it. Don't frustrate them. Because if I go back on the street, I could survive. I always make a joke and said, if I go back to prison, I know how to survive because now I could have cigarettes in there to live. I know how to run the road. Prisonization could step in for me easy. I prefer to do it the hard way, which is be responsible, have a wife and family, and run an NGO, have a company, and prepare myself and offer myself in the fight. But some people don't want that, and it's unfortunate.
I read this quote one time, and it said that every good boxer knows when it's time to hang up their gloves.
Yeah.
And it's a fact. Every good boxer.
And if I decide to apply for another job outside of Trinidad and Tobago, and go do it, although vex with me and say, well, you're unpatriotic, and don't vex with me now. I don't want to do it, but there's a choice. There's a choice because, again, Natasha has been with me throughout this entire journey. And she bear it, and she bear it, and she bear it, and she bear it.
And I fed up.
And, because of who her mother was, she and all get victimized. Because her mother endorsed a candidate for Prime Minister, and Natasha get the backlash from that. Why? We need to change our mindset. We need to change the way of thinking if we are to win or even put a dent on this war.
Not only that, I mean, a lot of things that my mother has said would have fallen on my shoulders now that she's no longer here, because she was not universally liked. I mean, she may have been respected in certain circles, but she was not universally liked or admired.
I listened to somebody sat on this radio station every Sunday morning and drag that woman through the mud.
Correct.
And I said, but he's a Brown surviving a second stroke. Why would you all not even understand? Why is Hazel Brown? Why is Hazel Brown? And from the time they find out Natasha was Hazel Brown's daughter, well, that is it.
That is it.
It's all over. It's wrong. We need to look at each other as...
Oh, Lord.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay. All right. So, we won't be able to, will we be able to take calls? No, they'll turn. Okay.
Oh, shucks.
All right. Well, we'll see if we could open the lines in a while. But Trinidad and Tobago, I hope you all understand what we attempted here to do this morning. There's a report of a soldier, and could you share that story with them, Natasha, of the soldier getting arrested? This is something no chief of defense staff wants on his plate right now, and a commanding officer. But listen to this.
Right. So in today's Newsday, the article headline is "Soldier Charged in Case of Missing 28,000 Rounds from Camp Kamuto." After months of intense investigations, a soldier has been charged with 3 offenses relating to the mysterious disappearance of close to 28,000 rounds of military-grade ammunition from an ammunition bunker at Camp Kamuto. Senior Defense Force officials confirmed that the charges were linked to an alleged negligence of the warrant officer who had responsibility for securing the bunker and bringing the regiment into disrepute. According to a senior officer familiar with the matter, the case will be heard internally, and the Chief of Defense Staff, Air Vice Marshal Darrell Daniel, will have to direct whether the officer face a court-martial after a summary of evidence is gathered. In early February, it was discovered that the ammunition was missing from the armory at Camp Kamuto. The camp was locked down, and a desperate search was conducted between February 7th and 8th to find the estimated 35 missing metal canisters of ammunition without success. According to a July confidential sub-report stemming from the Board of Inquiry set up to investigate the missing ammunition, there was evidence of a potential cover-up. The inquiry was done by Lieutenant Colonel Dwayne Edwards, also found discrepancy in the reclassification of the ammunition from operational to training. Further evidence also disputed a claim that the missing ammunition was used for training at the regiment shooting range in Chagaramas. In a Newsday article on August 17th, national security officials speaking on condition of anonymity said there was information linking a senior military officer to the alleged sale of the ammunition of two, I think that should be criminal gangs. The issue of regiment-stamped ammunition being found on crime scenes involving gangland murders has reached the highest levels of national security as a source of grave concern. Ammunition with police and air guard markings have also been found on various crime scenes. Weapons such as AR-15s, commonly used by gangs, use 5.56 ammunition. The disappearance of the ammunition from Camp Kamuto was among the factors discussed by the National Security Council in the lead-up to the declaration of the state of emergency on July 18th.
There you go, folks. Now, this is someone who's serving the colors, took an oath, and chose to do that. Well, he hasn't been pronounced guilty, I said, but he's been charged. And
for the high jump, as they say.
But for the high jump. Now, think about the domino effect from here. And this is why I look forward, and I hope it can restart soon, that I could stand in front, men in uniform, men and women in uniform, and let them know what it's like to go against that oath. Some of them don't even understand it. So, but folks, I just want to thank you all for listening here this morning. Ashford, we're having problems with our phone lines. So, but, okay, but Sunday, folks, today, Sunday, 5th October. Today's the 5th, right?
Today's the 5th,
right, yes. And the Trinity Dance Theatre, they're presenting something at Queen's Hall today. They were there yesterday. Seeds, it's called Seeds. It starts with us, and it's directed by Alan Balfour and Terry Springer. Go pick up your tickets now. Go and check them out today at Queen's Hall. Or you can call and reserve some tickets. You can call 744-2380, 744-2380, or 321-7205, 321-7205. This was Trinity Dance Theatre. And go pick up your ticket. Part proceeds will support marginalized children. And tickets for adults, $250, children, $150. You know, call them, get some tickets, go and spend an evening with Trinity Dance Theatre at Queen's Hall this evening, and have a good time and be educated. I'm sure, as you know, Trinity Dance Theatre was part of that presentation with the counter trafficking unit when they did Silence. Very well done piece. So go and check it out, folks. All right. Could we take some calls quickly?
Yes,
or you have anything else, folks? Again.
You want to respond to your birthday greetings that people have been wishing you happy birthday.
Yes. I want to thank you all very much for the greetings. I have been working hard at defying aging. I am serious. I've been working
Aging
very
like
hard
fine
at it.
wine.
And because
Don't mind he's a pensioner.
why is it hard to remind people that every time I say
Sorry.
no, I'm serious. I am working very hard at it because I still feel that I have something to give. But I am a trooper. I want to be on the ground. I don't want to be in an office. And I thank Keith Reno for understanding that under the People's Partnership when they were there. Keith Reno, who was in charge of OLEP at the time, I actually signed a contract to work for OLEP, people. But when Mr. Reno wanted me to start, the prison radio was in the middle of going on, and I was the only one on the ground, managing it with Mr. Husbands. So I had to be there, and I had to turn down that contract. It hurt really bad. So he's one of the people that answered God's call to open my way for Garth St. Clair. And Mr. Keith Reno, wherever you are, I want to thank you very, very much for at least giving me that opportunity one point in time on my journey to work for OLEP. But I couldn't accept the job even though I had signed the contract.
The Office of Law Enforcement Policy.
Yes. But I had a choice.
Behind the desk man, he like to be out there talking to people.
Yeah, and
that's what
no,
he's
but
good
I
at.
couldn't do it because prison radio. I had to hand it over by September, and it was August of that month. I had to sign the contract, and when I realized I would not have been able to do it, and they had given us the money, and I didn't want to use any excuse, So they say we mismanaged the money. We spent it on the radio station, and we have the receipts to prove it. So, but thank you, Mr. Reno, for still giving me and trying to give me an opportunity. All right, so 6223927. Let's take our first call. Hello, morning.
A very good morning to you, Garth. First of all, happy birthday to you, and greetings to your dear wife and the host there, or hostess. Garth, I want to, on this your birthday, congratulate you on the wonderful strides that you have made in pursuance of what you have been doing for so many years. I want to congratulate you. And I want you to recall Nelson Mandela, when he said, it's not in falling, but it's in rising to the achievements that you have been able to successfully achieve during your last so many years. And I want to say to you that you have not and will never not be an inspiration to those who need your service of your dear self and your wife. You all have done remarkably well in this country, and that must never be forgotten. And it is for that reason that you were honored with the Father of the Nation Medal of Honor, and that was for your outstanding achievement in the sphere of drug rehabilitation and other things which have led to your success, as I see it, in bringing this country to where it is. Because had it not been for you, I certainly don't know where it would be today. So I use this opportunity to congratulate you and ask you to continue to keep it on. We are behind you. The country is behind you. And if you want to be sure that they're behind you, I ask them to follow you in a march around the Queen's Park Savannah on a day to be appointed. I want you to look back and see the thousands and thousands who are behind you. And you will then understand the wonderful work that you have been doing in this island republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Congratulations to you. Keep up the good work, my brother. My regards to you, dear wife. Thank you.
What was that? Thank you, Mr. Vidal. Thank you so much.
Remember last time you did that, girl?
Yeah, I worked
How
from
many
San Fernando to
people
Port
were
of
behind
Spain.
you?
And it was a lot of, we collected signatures, yeah. When we were on Tragedy Road with Jerome Lewis.
2000.
And he was on the road with us. Yeah, Mr. Lee Singh had a week of activities, and that was part of it. I worked for National Youth Service, and we collected signatures along the way. Jerome was on the road with us. Morning to Jerome Lewis, and thank you very much, Jerome Lewis, for the work that you put into, to bring this society to some semblance of understanding of where we are today. So, but yeah, Jerome and Anthony and all of us, we work with Derek and Officer. But he's a police officer today, Nicholas Singh, and Mr. Alfonso joined us on that walk. Mr. Nurse Deceased. A lot of people joined us, Sam. Hello, morning. Sorry.
Morning, Mr. Sinclair. Happy 21st birthday.
Thank you very much.
And to wifey and to me. God, you still here?
Yeah, man.
You still doing here? Only say car by time, You know wifey, So I say, that doesn't mean that at the end here, if there's life is a continuous basis, you know what I mean? Home will always be home,
Yes.
So they say a king is not honoring his own land or something like that. Hey, God, something. Call former Minister Fitzgerald Hines. I think it's a Trinidadian thing and a culture. I've come to the realization of that, and I waste to fight up yourself with that. The way we think is a selfish culture, and our mentality, how we see and how we treat people, and we love a lot of fancy talk. And I don't think it's not getting better as being a partner. So that's just how it is. Just about self-fun in a large way, right? My song generalization, but not general. It's a cultural thing about self and talk and posture and selfishness and see by yourself and fend for yourself and use and all of that. So you stop beating up yourself. You have already done God's job and God's work. But if you're waiting for that to change and about masters and all those sort of foolishness, but when it's time for them to do things, it's false degrees and all that. God, well, I just talk, boy. That's just who we are. And I've come to the realization that a blind man had to beg to get a bus on Saturday, and all of a sudden it's working now. That's just who we are, brother. So, brother, you do your thing. I don't know what it's doing in our barracks there. Like it's give a red or green pill. I see that's my brother, and like all of this studies Trinidad and Tobago. And all the talent is way beyond these shores. You understand that you all will be paid and appreciated. But something down in Tetron down there, they say red or green pill, and after you take that red pill, like all of the sea, it's Trinidad and Tobago. But there's only so much, in my humble opinion, that they could use me for. And God, brother, life begins and ends here. And I thank you for all the work. Thank you what you have done for me. Thank you what you have done for Trinidad and Tobago. But life is a journey, brother. Don't really brought to no water for no Trinidad, brother.
All right, brother.
Thanks, Tasha.
Thanks. You know, I do want
the irony of all ironies.
Let's just go to the next call. Hello.
Boy.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning, Garth.
Good morning.
Yes, Tamika. Good morning to you as well. Happy birthday, Garth. All the best to you. Love for me and my family. You know, Garth, I have to tell you all through the years, thank you for all the hard work that you have done. You have educated us all. I mean, it is because of you I permanently walk around with an open on my keys. Because I do not ever allow anyone to open any drink for me anywhere. You know, so that says a lot. I mean, I talk about the things that you would discuss in my circle where I work, and you know where I am, God.
Yeah.
And people would ask me, how you know that? How you know them things? How could you know? How you know that? And I would say, I would introduce them to the program and say, you know what? They have a program on Sundays called I on Dependency on I-95. I'm old people station. I say, that's all right. You know, you will learn a lot. Listen to them. And some of them would come back and say, but you know, it's true. It's true what you're saying, you know. And one, they would continue to listen. So don't think that your work has gone unnoticed or unseen. We, the people, we on the ground, we in your circle, and we supporting you all the time. So don't give up. Maybe the fight would look arduous and hard and long and everything, but continue fighting. You know what? I think you should be awarded the ORTT. Everybody else gets it. So what about you and Tasha's? The work is really, really commendable.
As you say that, thank you, caller. Thank you very much.
Man,
Hey, Natasha, we cannot forget to thank, as you said, National Award.
Yes,
oh gosh,
Jennifer
Dowlat Oraho. Folks, people always ask us about getting national awards and all that.
Yes.
Now, to be honest, when we started this program, we weren't even thinking about that, right? I'm being honest with you. But over the years, people ask us, how come we've been overlooked? And it still never bothered me. But this year, Jennifer Dowlat Oraho, she's blind. A blind lady. Decided to, since last year she wanted to do it, but she went too late. This year she did it.
To actually apply. Because plenty of people will say that, but they won't do the work to apply.
She put in the work. She's a blind person, but so we had to go home by her and send it, help her gather information. Yeah, she nominated us. And then the National Awards Committee contacted us and asked us to nominate somebody else, and they extended the deadline. And we recommended Beverly Mawson from Serenity Place. And here now, the week leading up to that was so tense. I said, well, all right, they'll call tomorrow. They'll call tomorrow. And for some reason that week, my phone didn't ring at all. And then the phone finally rang, and it was Flo calling me to tell me I owe them money. I said, what job is this? So we didn't get the call. But I want to still thank Jennifer Dowlat Oraho. Yes, this lady, I tell her, she's totally blind. And we thank Mr. Suraj Ratan Ramachan for doing the recommendation letter, and Jackie Burgess as well.
Can I say that the online application for national awards needs to be revised, because Jennifer Dowlat, as a blind person, was not able to sign the form. Why? Because it requires a physical signature. There's no option to upload a signature.
Yeah.
There's no prompt for someone who is visually impaired to complete that form. That is incorrect. And I called the OPM to ask about it, did not receive a response. Jennifer called the OPM to find out why that form was not accessible as it should be to everyone, and that needs to be fixed, please.
Yes, so make it friendly for people with disabilities.
Accessible is the word.
Yes, accessible, because we had to help her. And so we didn't nominate ourselves, she did. And I want to thank her very, very much for at least making the attempt for us. But as you saw what the results were, but that's like I said, that wasn't on our agenda. When my agenda started our Dependency was to prevent your children and your grandchildren from walking the road that I've walked. That's it. God love the truth. This government, under this minister, we've met with him, Minister of Homeland Security, and we've met with the PSs, and let's hope that they would give us that tool now going forward to help continue the work. We prepared and we're standing by for that. And with NGOs like Vision and Mission and all the others who have been out here in the battlefield, that they could continue to in their journey as well. But we want to thank you all very, very much for listening this morning. You've been listening to Dependency. We gone past our time, and this is where we have to wrap up. Tasha, in wrapping up.
Thank you very much.
Over to you.
Yes. Have a good afternoon.
Among what? To close off?
Oh, okay.
Tamika, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity and helping us get this message out there. Folks, Natasha?
What a morning it has been. We've reflected, we've had some tough questions, and we've heard from you, our listeners. God, today wasn't just about your birthday, which was on Friday, by the way. It's not today, the 3rd of October. It was about looking back and looking forward.
That's right. I turned 65 this week, and when I think about it, my journey from soldier to addict to inmate to advocate, I can't help but ask myself, have my struggles and my story really helped to change anything in this country? Sometimes the answer feels uncertain, but what I do know is this: sharing our truths matter. Having the conversation matters, because silence only allows the cycle of drugs, crime and violence to continue.
And for 24 years, Ion Dependency has been breaking that silence. We may not have all the answers, but we are certainly here every Sunday to spark the dialogue, to put the hard issues on the table, and to invite you to be a part of it.
So as I celebrate 65 years on the planet, I want to say, I don't know why my stomach will get queasy every time I say that.
Say that?
Jesus. I want to say thank you to our listeners, our supporters, and to those who believe that change is still possible. We've got a long way to go, but as we keep talking, keep fighting, and keep showing up, maybe together we can make the dent.
Thank you very much for being with us today, and don't forget you can rewatch this program on our Facebook or YouTube page. We'll be back next Sunday right here on I-95.5 FM from 10 a.m.
Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, there's always hope.
Good
Cheerio.
afternoon. Don't drop this.
Music, dance, theater,